Perhaps we'll sort of let it play one time through at the very end as I sort of recap No Man's Sky and sort of explain to you why. And I truly do hope you give this game a shot, give No Man's Sky a shot, and start to get excited for this game because this is going to be cool. It's a fantasy RPG type of game, and No Man's Sky surely has served as quite the vehicle for Hello Games to experiment, get that community feedback. They have brought No Man's Sky to all platforms now, even the Switch, which is really cool. Of course, there are some, what's the word I'm looking? There's some things about No Man's Sky that a lot of people really wish, like, I wish they did a little bit more here, or just a little bit more variety. With planet structures, things like that. Some of the assets, you can sort of predict some of the assets after a while when you've played for hundreds of hours. I've played about, I want to say, like slightly over 500, 600 hours, all things considered. Very, very fun game. So, blah, 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 blah. Let's get into the things with the power of editing. Whatcha? Woohoo! Hey, I've never done that before. So, again, I really appreciate you being here. I'm so excited for this game. I hope you are too. If you liked the video at any point, that would be really cool to help sort of more people find it. And subscribe because I'll be covering Magic, this game, and even much more in the future. But let's take a look at this beautiful trailer, and I will try not to stop it too much, okay? Okay, I'm going to stop it here for 1 second. I'll let it play just a little bit more in a second as we sort of approach these two houses. But we saw a lot already. It's really exciting stuff. A lot of people have, again, talked about this game a lot already, but it's brand new. I mean, I don't think I'm overdoing anything, right? It's brand new. We're getting excited. We're getting the hype train rolling. But I just want to immediately point out how sharp everything looks, how colorful everything looks. That is very typical of No Man's Sky. The individual blades of grass look great. They seem to have gotten that down. A lot of practice with No Man's Sky. Of course, there's games like Breath of the Wild and certain games that, right, maybe do that. Ghost of Tsushima that do things a little bit more with higher fidelity. But this looks good. And the render distance, again, I'll say it a million times, is going to be like the most important part, I would say, of this game, at least from like a technical perspective. How well that really happens, like without like stressing your machines out too much. Yeah, and just the connectivity of a multiplayer game, right? Alright, I'll stop it again. This is really cool shot because what we see here is the division of labor. We're going to see building. This is something that No Man's Sky has done super well. The building is absolutely incredible. They do have a great build camera in No Man's Sky too, so you can sort of like just like quickly change the angle, bing, 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 bam. Change the angle again, boom, switch what type of materials you're using. Now, what's interesting about this is it seems like this guy is carrying physically a tree, which could be quite cool, like to see how that's sort of implemented. And that actually ties a lot of the physical, that gives purpose to the physical structure of things. If you have a high advantageous point, right, with maybe access to a river or something, you can maybe send the logs down the river down to a lower point for a much more efficient transportation of vehicles. And this would incentivize players to sort of contest land, maybe, perhaps, depending on what kind of multiplayer we get. It'd be so curious to see different communities and different trading economies sort of evolve if this really is part of things. So that's one of the most exciting details, really, in the trailer, is that guy holding that log. So let's keep going, though. I'm going to pause it right here. A lot of people do pause it right here, I've noticed. Because, wow, we just saw a lot. Those flashes, I'll go back to some of those flashes for sure. I want to talk about at least a couple of those. Really beautiful screenshots. But this is really interesting because of this sort of like totem that, obviously, I mean, this is a trailer they chose to sort of like draw a lot of attention to. I would say this totem and this little sort of like almost pathway through the mountain. And we almost have this like landing sort of portal thing. So my guess, and I'm just going to throw this out there, throw this against the wall to see if it sticks. Dragons are going to be minimal use type of things, perhaps, that we can use through different like dragon type of portals, or maybe they're guided by the fire, eh? We still don't know what the name means, but I bet the fire and dragons are related in some capacity. Obviously, in a lot of folklore, they do breathe fire and mythology, so what have you. So this is just pretty interesting. I do also want to point out how sharply jagged and right angly this is. That's probably the only little thing in the whole trailer where I'm like, well, I don't know if that's like a really bad angle or what, but maybe that generation could be a little bit better. Realization grew on me as quick as it takes your hands to warm. No, I kind of missed it. But while I'm on this shot, one thing someone was pointing out, which I find really interesting, is it's pretty bright here, even though we are in a storm, and there's a bunch of rain. And we do have two fires lit here that we can see. We can see one guy on the left that's sort of... oh, my head's probably blocking it, but basically where my head is, there's a guy standing there. He's heating his hands up with the fire. And we have, of course, our center character there holding a torch. Now, it'd be interesting if they played with the darkness a little bit more. Like, one guy was saying he was playing a game recently where it's like, it gets so dark. Even just like original Minecraft, or I think Minecraft still today. If you don't have any torches and you're in one of those caves, it's like so dark, right? So it'd be interesting a game with fire in the name to really play with lighting as much as it could. So a little thought bubble for you there. Okay, I'll pause it here again while we have, I guess, this shot before it fades away. This is actually a really good pause because you can actually see at the base here, which I didn't really notice before, to be completely honest with you. You can see the maze all the way up from the base. So it would be really cool if these are like dungeon-based things and you have to like maneuver your way up with your friends, finding keys, finding elevators, finding what have you, just kind of throwing something else against the wall. But it seems like we are going directly towards it, which is cool. Seems like something we're taking on, right? So yeah, there are a bunch of little icons in the bottom right corners and bottom left corners sometimes throughout the trailer too. If you want to rewatch it, on your own. I've rewatched it a million times, but I will let it play it at the end one more time all the way through, I think, for you. So stick around if you're feeling frisky. Let's go. Honestly, it's so hype. Let's go. Like, I mean, come on. Like, No Man's Sky is sick. This is an IP they've claimed to be working on for the last 5 years simultaneously while supporting No Man's Sky. We couldn't be living in a better age for video games. I'm telling you, like, we have a lot of cool stuff. We have great RPGs coming out. We have different fantasy worlds of all kinds to explore. We have your FPS, your high octane type of games. We have, of course, your strategy. Of course, I'm a Magic the Gathering player. You have everything. So one thing I do want to point out, or I guess emphasize to my Magic the Gathering players, or people that haven't played a game quite like this, is No Man's Sky has a special quality, or a special attention to detail, I would say. Now, bear with me. I know there's been a lot of bugs in the past, but they have a special attention to detail where they put a lot of their charisma or they put a lot of their personality into the game. They make very specific decisions. The assets that they choose to include are very wholesome, very like individualized, very cute stuff. And they are willing to sort of experiment and work in tandem with the community. Their story is a remarkable one in gaming, and it's not to be underestimated. And again, what they've managed to do is basically do Minecraft better than Minecraft and Pokemon better than Pokemon. I remember like finding my first Pokemon, my first creatures out in the on the different planets out in No Man's Sky and getting like my first core 6. Finding my bigger version of my beetle that was much faster. I was like, oh, this is the fastest beetle in the universe. And then finding one of the first big tusk squid dudes, right? The eyeball creatures, the little fish guys that you can sit on that zoom through the sky, and of course the big different colored dragonfly ones. I remember hunting down a pink one for hours and hours and hours, and they're all slightly different, again with different characteristics, so you can do that. And the one thing about it is the terrain, how much you can manipulate the terrain in that No Man's Sky is incredible. And if they have something like that in Light No Fire, it'll just be so cool on a single planet, seeing what people are managing to come up with, or how they're wanting and choosing to terraform things. And that does, of course, beg the question: how do we interact on one singular planet? Do people have the ability to go and chop down all the trees if they want to ruin it for everyone? Imagine one person's like, "Yo, I'm just gonna play this game until I chop down every tree on this planet." But of course, what's interesting is this is going to sort of simulate Earth, right? It's going to simulate a planet the size of Earth, or so they claim. I presume it's going to be bigger, or it's going to be layered, meaning like you can't see everyone or interact with everyone all at the same time. Maybe it's like Dark Souls, where you have access to some people's like ghosts and stuff. There's tons of games that sort of stagger that. I think, of course, that's just server limitation, technology limitation. I think in the perfect world, there'd be no reason for that. But let's let the trailer kind of finish there. Yeah, that's it. Okay. Yeah, we're back. So this is like a super edgy, dope shot to me. First of all, we have 2 awesome birds. My head hopefully isn't cutting off. First big birdie here. But the way that they look is great. The size ratio is great, and this environment that we're in is very cool. We're exposed to a very sort of bright, sort of ominous, and also ambient light. That's sort of like, where is it coming from? Why is it this color? Why is it so monotoned, chromatic, so to speak? So I like that they always play around with different effects in the atmosphere like that. So it's good to see that in this game too. Let's actually put this into... Okay, hopefully I edited that in a cool, snazzy way. Obviously, a lot of people stop on this shot. The reason I want to stop on this shot is, of course, the boats. Now, we have a dragon flying right above. I think it's getting cut off due to some sort of weird blur, because I, like, just unpaused it right when it cut to this, I think. But, blah, 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 blah. This is awesome. That island across the thing, very incentivizing, right? You could build a watchtower across there and have boats, going back and forth, shipping goods for whatever reason, I would imagine. I would imagine that the loot and how you transport things is going to be a big part of this game. I think they're going to take all the best parts from Valheim, Ark. I've never played Subnautica. We're not going underwater, but just think about some of the best survival games and blend them together, hopefully. And this is just a cool example of also the water shader being a pretty nice upgrade. I know we've been sort of teased and tantalized by Hello Games in the past, so I don't want to get too excited, but this looks really good. Just the fact that you can like nonchalantly walk up to it, probably hop right on, press a button to maybe sit down or stay equipped or what have you. Or maybe it's just like a... what do you call it? A dynamic object out in the world that has its own physics that's just being applied like at any given moment. You don't have to like launch it or anything. That'd be pretty cool too. That'd be more like Breath of the Wildy. Probably be a little bit more bandwidthy, but... So actually, we can skip that second scene. I'll go back in a bit. This is really cool shot because of the explosion being like boom. It's a little bit more visceral. No Man's Sky was a little bit more cartoony. You can see the reflections on the crab shells and sort of almost like the gritty, dirtier texture to the world and also the crabs, which is really nice. Let's go back just a sec too. Okay, so right here we have the river. Now this is awesome because we want rivers, we want bodies of water to be traversable and interesting. Maybe right there's fish or crawdads in the river you can catch down the road perhaps. It'd be cool, right, if this river is running and it comes from a higher elevation and starts to trickle down to a lower one, and giving more incentive to higher vantage points, and also sort of really creating interesting interactions between players, I would say, and simulating real life, right, and the importance of bodies of water like this in real life. And of course they're hunting together, which is really cool to see. It looks like about 5 people here working together to take down these beasts, which is pretty cool. Imagine they take multiple bows and multiple arrows, or maybe you have those, like, I forget what you call those triple spiral, like, bungalows or whatever. They're totally not that. It's like an Australian thing to catch different animals. Yeah, right, that'd be really cool though, right? Okay, stopped it on this really shot. We have this cool, very intimate shot of this dragon's face. I think my head might be blocking it a little bit. Let's hop to hopefully the storm. Actually, let's hop to the bunnies. I just want to sort of stop here and be like, yo, okay, there's gonna be some RPG elements that are pretty cool. It looks like it's encouraging going with your squad and, like, okay, so here we are. We did this cool mission. Everyone's bowing to us. This is something we did. We investigated that dungeon, right? This shield obviously matches the shields on the wall. I just wanted to... You saw the goblin guy, though. The goblin guy is a little interesting to me. And that's pretty much it, other than maybe let's take a look maybe at the last thing here, which is, of course, the terraforming atlas. Now, again, it sort of begs the question, all on one Earth, how are we going to sort of do this? What are we going to do to sort of make things right, as, you know, we want to give people as much freedom as possible. We don't want to hinder the experience for other players by giving people a little bit too much freedom, and some people sort of abuse that. So I want to say that we live on a world that's sort of always expanding and always procedurally generating, but can also change and stuff. Because No Man's Sky, of course, this was emphasized in the narrative and the story of No Man's Sky, and I imagine that Hello Games is very fond of that sort of concept. And you can see the red coloring, and of course in the symbol at the end, you can see the likeness of the atlas. It's just so cool. It's just, you can see the likeness of the atlas, right? The red, the globe, the all-knowing, ominous type of presence that it has. I really like the supporting logo sort of being like a support beam, but also like a compass type of thing. And the center light being sort of like a northern star, all about exploration, with the sort of never-ending landscape around you. Now, what's crazy is, like, compare this game to, like, Starfield that just came out, right? Like, pretty insane stuff that we are talking about. I mean, this game looks amazing. Like, some of these shots really are amazing. I will skip back just a little bit more, because I guess I'm just gonna have to keep going through it. It's too exciting. I'm terrible, but we did see sort of the staff, right? I'm sure, again, you've seen the trailer from other people talking about it. This is just a beautiful shot, though, looking at the lighting, just goodness, the depth. Look at how high we are, too, and how far likely you can take that glider for a good while, you know what I'm saying? So that's really cool. Just running into other players naturally in the world, or finding a dungeon that is exclusive to your group of friends. It's just so novel. It's so great. I also hope, one thing that I always talk about is the shiny Pokemon theorem. Okay, this is something I'll talk about this, and then I'll talk about No Man's Sky, and we'll wrap it up. But thank you for being here if you are still. One of the coolest things Pokemon ever did is, like, you can randomly get a shiny Pokemon. You can just be playing the game, you can randomly get a shiny Pokemon, right? what if there's like super rare exclusive treasures, kind of like the exotic multi-tools that and the S-tier ships that are out there in the world that are like so hard to find, that really drive community, you know, working together, and also just networking, and also just hype, talking about it. And you know, when more people talk about it, the incentive becomes even more tangible, and then more people start to play the game. Okay, now I don't even know what I'm talking about, but there's something cool too about just even in the last game that Hello Games did, No Man's Sky. There are buried treasures that have a date, and just the number itself is distinguishable enough and novel enough to be like, I found the most rare item, boom, bam, bang. Now it could generate between any range of numbers up to like, I don't know, like 3,000 something. So if you found like the 3,000-year-old treasure, that's like the rarest one, you could post a picture of that, and that could be like really cool, and you could be like the number one haver of such item. I hope stuff like this is sprinkled all throughout this game, and individualism, and making sure that you're like the only person in the world that has this specific type of thing. That was sort of the appeal of NFTs and all of that craziness. So this is a great shot, and this is actually the shot I wanted to leave you on. So we have the bunnies, we have the crow, we have, again, the lighting, we have you and your boy there ready to go fly out of this biome, out of this storm, go land on a more sunnier side of the mountain, and maybe get some supplies, come back and tackle a dungeon here. So anyway, go give No Man's Sky a shot. Please, you know, if you liked the video at any point, give it a like. Keep an eye out for more Light No Fire content from me. It's crazy to say that. And also, of course, Magic the Gathering. I'm not going anywhere, you guys. You know that. I'm pumping out decks like crazy. So on our way to Mythic. What an exciting time to be alive. Let's give Hello Games all of the love and support that they deserve. Let's be patient with them when this game does come out. Sure, there will be bugs. Sure, there will be features that aren't quite there. But let's continue to give them positive reconstruction. Let's be vocal about it now too, right? Do you want to see a RuneScape skill list type of thing where your numbers are popping up above your head the stronger you get? Do you want to see specialized skills between each party member, maybe depending on your race, depending on this, depending on the decisions you make at the start of the game? Do you want to see any of that? Do you want to see burdensome carrying of supplies across the map? I actually kind of do in some capacity, because it's sort of would be interesting to give more reason for some of these other vehicles like the boats and other cool assets that I'm sure they're working on to be in the game. I don't want dragons to invalidate everything, and I also wonder if there's like PvP to any capacity. Maybe you could steal other people's items if you do turn that on in certain areas of the map. That is something super cool. I doubt that, but it's just, as a PvP player, I really like the idea of a certain area of the map being like a zone that's like always on. Maybe there's like a higher ratio of treasures there, or not even like treasures that benefit you on like a power level type of thing, but just like on like a cosmetic level, like super rare treasures that maybe like you get like an earring that you can equip that's like a red jewel that's like, you know, maybe there's different little piercings and things you can get. They're just like little novelty things, kind of like the shiny Pokemon thing, that give you reason to continue hunting for that one-of-a-kind item. You know, because maybe you find these rare items, which is great, and that's even super fun to do. But maybe you find one of those that's a different color and has an extra little sparkle to it. Of course, with these animals too, right? You find a shiny golden dragon or a shiny golden bird. There's so much exciting stuff. I didn't touch on everything I wanted to touch on. This is actually the second take of me doing this, because the first one was in a different format and I could not convert the file. So hugely appreciate all of you. Much love, you guys. I am so excited for this game, and I will see you in the next video.